I'm going to teach you about sessions, which is called session state also. Session state will allow you to recover the variables from one page and allow them to display on another. So it's another way of saving your information when you do a post back. So when you click on the button, for example, this is a post back. It'll go to a new page. In this example I gave earlier, it went from test page 1 to test page 2. So to do that, as I mentioned, we'll need a session. So just type in session, and you make sure to use the open brackets, I think they're called, and then we're going to create any name, whatever you want to call it. In this case, we're just going to call it name save, and then we're going to save the drop down list that we created. So whatever they select in that drop down list will be saved, and then we're going to transfer it to our new page. Create a string called getName, and then we're going to do something called casting, which means we need to turn this drop down list into a string. So we cast it by typing in string and then session, and then whatever you had called that session, name save, and then we're going to display it. I already created the label in advance, but I think we know how to create labels by now, so if you don't, go ahead and watch the first video. So this is just basically going on page 2 here, and I'll go to the design to show you, and this label right here is called LBL write to, and that's what we're doing. We're just writing what we saved in the session state to this. Now I'm going to do something else here. I'm going to set I'm going to allow you to see what these variables are called. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the program, and it's going to stop at this point when it gets here to tell you exactly what the variable is before we display it. I just wanted to show you it in real time. So let's make sure we're back on page 1. We can put anything we want in here. We'll just select 2. So we're going to save the drop down box value of 2 for now. Submit. Now we're on to the second page. Notice it's selected the second one here. And if you hold your mouse over here, you can see getName now occupies 2. So it has 2 in there. That's how you know if your sessions are saving accurately. I worked in the industry before, and I'll tell you, if you don't check your sessions, it can be quite painful trying to figure out what happened to them. So always use your breakpoints to make sure that you know what it's going to be before it writes out. Now all you have to do is click this little arrow up here called stepping out. You can also step backward too, I believe. It'll go backward. In this case, this is going to go forward anyway. So you saw it printed 2. See, we're on page 2 and it printed 2. Now if you don't believe me or want to test it, we'll go back to test page 1, run it again, and this time we'll just select a different one, like 1 for example. It'll stop here again, and you'll see 1 is now loaded there. So let's continue forward, and we got 1. So what we'll do next is we'll save a second session to show you how this works with more than one session for the text box. So you just type in session again, and whatever you want to call it. We'll just say text box name or something like that equals txtbox.text. I'm just going to copy this so I can recall it here later. Go back to page 2, and we're going to create another string, this time for the text box. So get, I should just call it text box, equals casting string and session. Copy it. So remember, whatever was in that text box is now going to be occupied. And we're going to need to create another label, otherwise I'll just have to display it in a text box or something. I'm just going to create it into a second label here. So I'm going to go back here, and when you see we got this first label, I'm going to create a second label. Just drag it to the screen. Oh. And rename it. We got write 2. We'll just call this write 3. Or whatever you want to call them, it doesn't really matter. And then right down here, we're going to write to that new label. our get text box. So once again, you'll see it stop here, and you'll see I'll show you what the values are loaded here as we go through them. So let's go ahead and run it. And I'll type my name in the box. And submit. It'll stop here. Now you'll see the first one just like last time too. And the second one now shows my name. So now you know it worked. It transferred from page 1 to page 2, and it recalled the session state into the new page. So we'll run it, and you'll see it go through. And there they are. So now we save both values. This time we'll remove the breakpoint. We'll run it, and just make it go through automatically without stopping. And there you have it. So that's basically all I wanted to show you about sessions. The whole point of these videos is to keep them really small and simple so people can learn step by step rather than just throwing a bunch of stuff at you at one time. Thank you for watching.